Oh no, so it won't do that one because it's a repeat. Which one was it again? I saw it.
I'm looking it up.
19.3.
Was it?
Single arm overhead walking lunge.
Oh yeah,
step ups, strict handstand push up, handstand walk.
Dude, that's a hard workout.
It's super hard.
I remember I did it, and then I remember just last couple of weeks ago, Cody couldn't beat 2019 Todd.
Did that make you feel good about yourself?
Yeah, dude. He was proud of me today, though. Hit a pretty heavy back squat that I've been working on. It's pretty nice. He said he was proud. It's fun. Well, has .com in the recent done any other repeats? Since you're joining us, say put your wave in the chat. 3 people. Say what's up. We're talking about open repeat workouts because if you didn't see today, Dave Castro said on his weekend review that there would be one of the weeks is going to be a repeat. So we're just looking at .com and scratching them off the list.
I like last year's thruster workout.
Which one's that? Hello, Arthur Wolfie, Mr. Brian.
What was it? 5 rounds of 10 thrusters, 10 chest to bar, and then 5 rounds of 7 and 7 of heavier thrusters and bar muscle ups.
Lady behind the camera. Pull that up. Hello, Jacqueline. Those are our 3. We got 4 now. 4 watchers. The other day they said that there was like 9,000 people I think it was 900 people watching Kill Taylor. That's crazy.
900,
you
said?
Yeah, they said it on the live. Oh, Harley likes this one?
No, the workout I was talking about was 24.
This one's good, though.
This is good, but I was talking about 24.3.
This one, I would be very happy. This was the one I was talking to Heather about today.
Yeah, that you couldn't remember. No, that was 22. I thought it was the second workout.
That was 22 point. Oh, that was the third workout, 22.3. But still, it's the same year. That one's a cool one.
Well, what was it?
21 pull-ups, double unders, thrusters, chest to bar, thruster, double unders.
It was deadlifts, bar facing burpees.
Oh, that's the first workout. No,
that was the workout too.
Please do not redo 10 to 1, dudes. Oh my God.
It was 1 to 10, then 10 to 1 deadlift, bar facing.
I know. I died. That was the worst workout for me. I do not bring that back. I don't have that posterior drive like that. Yeah, 24.1 or 3.
Yeah, that's the one.
You think they repeat that just back to, I mean, they have done back to back like that in years.
They've done many years like that.
Oh, please.
I don't see why not.
I was sick doing that workout. I hated it.
I think it was really good. I think it's really accessible for most people, but then it was truly a separator for the best. So I think those are, if you're going to have a 3-week season or 3-week open, you need accessibility as the primary driver, because they like to be inclusive these days, but you also need something to create separation value.
I mean, everybody dropped their DEI councils in the world recently, so I don't know if that inclusion. It's a good point.
I don't know what that means.
Well, who was the most recent one? Google. They got rid of their diversity, equity, inclusion councils. All these corporates are getting rid of them. So you never know. You never know.
Whatever.
I just said that because you were saying they like to be inclusive. I
meant CrossFit from make the workouts attainable.
Yeah. Not unless they got rid of those people, which I've heard they have 2 of them.
Yeah,
the golden people.
They just want to drive signups and make it feel like people can do it because people get so up in arms whenever they release a workout that people can't do or submit a score. So we did 14.5, 16.5 in the gym yesterday. And
honest question about that statement. Do you really I love it. I love Heather brought it up the other day where back in 2013 and prior and even 14, really, there was no, even 15 with the ring muscles when I started. Was that?
Yeah, that was 7 and everybody lost their minds.
Yeah, no scaling.
No, that was fine.
I'm down.
I was going to bring up 14.5, 16.5, where there still wasn't a scale division in 16, and there was no time cap on it, and the people were submitting scores of an hour plus. Do 84 thrusters and 84 burpees.
Yeah, I love it. You can hate on me. I like it. I'm in the camp.
No, I don't. I'm not in
Still.
that camp. I'm just trying to speculate based on what was said over the last 3 to 4 years, based on the
But
relevant.
I think that
info.
I'm like 100% sure that climate has changed in the last 3 to 4 years. I don't think they care. I think you're going to see CrossFit at its finest and old school. I don't think they.
I hope so.
I hope so.
I think
mean,
it's great.
even looking at last year, you keep like you just said, in the last 3 to 4 years, that climate's changed, and it's like, but it hasn't, because last year it was very inclusive. They even went down in deadlift load. They went.
Dude, that workout was hard. I would not say that.
It was super hard, but it was down in deadlift load. Like, that was the first year they've done a deadlift aside from that 1 year where there's been a couple AMRAPs where they did sets of 10 deadlift at 115. But aside from that,
I disagree. I think you look at .com, there's a lot of 185 deadlifts.
Yeah, I'm saying in the open. I'm only speaking within context of the open.
Right, but the open is the extension of the training methodology of CrossFit. So I disagree with you. I think anything you see on .com.
If the conversation is, I do agree that looking to the source and thinking about the methodology as the driving force of what may or may not come out of the open is smart. But if the conversation is what is the repeat going to be, and if the climate has become more or less inclusive from what they've done in the last 2 to 3 years, I think it's been very inclusive. And unless they pivot away from that again, it's going to still be inclusive, which if they pivot away from it, great. I'm all for that. But at the same time, like.
All right, well, let's go with the inclusive workouts then. Let's go through the years.
Okay.
My first one I can think of is, which I know people are like, oh, it's not that inclusive. It's hard movement, but 21.1 wall walks and double unders.
Yeah, it's great. It's great because it comes down to time caps. Time caps are going to regulate the fitness. If you can't do the movement
with the wall walk itself, it's been in CrossFit for a really long time. Like, I laughed when that first came out because Heather knows Andreas, who would have his personal training clients in like 2009 doing wall walks. And I always thought it was stupid that he was having them do that. And boy, do I regret not watching this old school trainer do this with the people, because I could have picked that up and had people doing wall walks since 2009. That'd have been a ton of time to practice wall walks. Because like, how many wall walks do we do now because of that workout in training?
Ton. I was going to say, because that workout, I think, was the first workout where they introduced wall walks, right? That year. And they had to do what, 4, 10, 19.
It's 55.
Yeah, 50 something workout or wall walks, and people just like lost their minds.
Well, like Harley's saying though, if you got there, because
well, I mean, that was the expectation, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
For the best, but I mean, time caps regulate if people can or can't do the movement. Then it regulates the volume that they're exposed to.
All right, what's another inclusive one? Let's name another one.
All right, another one that you hate that you just said is the 1 to 10 down to 1. And my argument is still the same, is that it's very inclusive because almost everyone can do the deadlifts and burpees.
22.2.
Yeah.
22.2.
That way Sophia can find it.
Because the rate of travel, the demands to actually finish that workout is super aggressive. You have to go really fast, as well as be very tolerant to deadlifting volume. The people who are able to do that volume at that speed are the best. And otherwise, the time cap is aggressive enough that it regulates the volume that people are exposed to. So I would say it's completely inclusive. Some people would say that, it left me wrecked because it's a higher relative percentage of their best deadlift, or their strength endurance is lower, but they still weren't going to finish that. So people look at it and they're like, that's like 100 total reps. Well, yeah, whatever it is. 1 to 10 is 55, 9 to 1 is 45. So it's 100 total reps. So you have 100 deadlifts at 225. And then whenever that workout came out with 185 that I just referenced, we were like, that could easily be like a 10 round, like 100 deadlift workout. But the skill and the rate of travel needed to do that regulated those who couldn't do the double unders or hold the sets or the transitions to do that. So it's like, it could.
That one could also be a repeat though, right? You think?
For sure.
What about anybody in the chat? You guys got one more all skill level workouts that don't have like a bottleneck or something high skill that would hurt some people. I know double
about
lunge people would say like it's high skill. It's not.
Well, what about last year's, the 24-1?
I'm sorry. I hurt people's feelings by
The
saying
dumbbell
double
snatches,
unders.
lateral burpee over the dumbbell.
Yeah, it's a great one. And then what about 22-1, which is a 15-minute AMRAP of 4 wall walks, 8 dumbbell snatch, 10 dumbbell snatch, whatever it was, and then box jump over, step down.
Mm-hmm. That was a good one. Can you think of any that are pre 2020? That everyone could.
Yes, there are plenty for sure. 17-1.
No, I said
Incredibly.
not hurting my feelings. Got to get better. She's talking about the double unders.
Hmm.
So it is, let's just go on a tangent about the double unders for a second. First of all, I should have learned them early on and had a terrible 23 open because I just refused to practice them all of 2020 or 2012. So just learn from my mistakes and practice.
You refuse to practice what?
Like double unders. I thought they
Oh.
were stupid. Like back in 2012, I was like, these are
They've
dumb.
been in every open.
I know they are the movement that's been in every open, but I didn't practice them. So Renata practiced them, but
she is practicing. She's working hard.
I know. When you look at like competitive jump roping, the double under is the basic skill. It's the primary skill of the thing that they're doing. So when I know people in class and everything, and everyone's like, why are we doing crossovers? Why are we doing other stuff? And beyond that, the ability to coordinate your hands with your jump and the speed of the rope. And then as you start getting better, learning how to manipulate the speed of the rope, changing ropes, using drag ropes, all that's just giving you feedback of a new skill. It's like learning how to play another song on the piano. And it's a really good thing to practice and do. And when people are like, I hate this, it's terrible. I know people who've like, this was like the people at NC Fit. They're, what was her name? She had blonde hair. She was a coach. God, I wish I could remember her name, but her husband would jump rope in front of the TV for 45 minutes. She was like telling me about it. He would do
like
single.
At home?
Yeah. He would do single unders for 45 minutes for his cardio in front of the TV and just watch TV while he would jump rope. And I was just like, man, that calf endurance there. But on top of that, like fitness, a skill set, there's people out there getting crazy with jump ropes. If you look at like competitive jump roping, and then running, like bounding mechanics and jumping and calf and Achilles strengthening. It's a great tool. So very, very good. We should all do them. And I'm tired of people. It's 2025. We should definitely, 12.1. Yeah. 7 minutes of burpees. Do them more, please. Everybody. I've been programming a lot more jumping in our classes because of that. Anyways, thanks for listening.
So your previous question was inclusive workouts that are pre 2020.
Oh, dang. Yeah. Look for those. Buddy Lee.
Buddy Lee,
Dude.
Oh, man, that's a good one. Yeah, 12. Cody's right. 12.1. 7 minute AMRAP burpees to a 6-inch above reach.
14-1.
Mm-hmm.
On the double under train. That's double unders and power snatches at 75-55. Incredible test of fitness, but really, really gross and simple. Everyone can do it. Yeah.
Did 2015 have anything like that? The first workout's pretty complex.
2015 was row and thruster for the fifth one. That was pretty good. The second one was overhead squat and chest to bar. So a little complex.
Yeah.
Just from a mobility standpoint. And the third one was the one that started with muscle ups.
I would just say anything with overhead squat, because when you were talking about like the open, I would say is excluding a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. I wasn't saying that was inclusive. I was just going through the 15 because you asked, it did 15 have inclusion. Okay. And so I was just rattling off the workouts.
No on that one.
I don't think so.
Thrusters and but they took everybody 1 million hours, like you said. And then
and I think there was a time cap on that one. The thruster and rowing had a time cap.
Oh, the burpee and thruster had
burpee and thruster had no time cap.
Okay. 14.5. What was 14.5? I know 14.5
is 16.5. It's the thruster and burpee. Except for I think there was a time cap in 14.
Yeah. That one's I guess there's no, that's it. All systems go. All people can do that. That's tough though. That's a lot of reps for a thruster. For like when I think of somebody in a class, so that's where I would draw the line just slightly of like, because you'll watch people just fail that thruster, dude. Like at a certain point.
We did that yesterday in class, and we had time cap 20 minutes and basically told everyone in the room to scale unless they were like pretty.
How many
dang.
people? We got 14.5 too. So
That
how
is
many people
14.5.
did- Oh, sorry. How many people did RX and under the 20 minutes? Like percentage wise, off the top of your head,
20.
3.
out of how many you think, or
I
20%?
don't know. It's like 20%.
Dang. Yeah. Maybe not an inclusive workout. What about the deadlift step up workout?
Oh my, that workout.
Was that 14.3?
I think
Yeah,
it
we
was-
did that yesterday. We did that Monday.
Were you guys just doing open workouts
Yeah.
every day?
I guess. I don't write the programming. They're just on an open workout kick
Would you
this
say
week.
that? Would you say that is the 10 reps at 135.95 into step ups?
Yeah, it's inclusive because again, the time cap's only 8 minutes, so you would have to be really, really strong and really, really enduring and hinging mechanics to get far.
I
So
just-
yes, it's inclusive, but it's gonna become a strength limitation for most
Yeah.
All right,
because
let's
the
get-
jumps are so aggressive.
And 17.
17-1 is dumbbell snatch, burpee, box jump over.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay. What about
17-2 is the power clean front rack walking lunges toe to bar. That was
I would say the total bar limit. I mean, you could do them in singles, but I
can do them singles,
feel
but
like that's a limit.
that one's a long workout too. I want to say I was like 20 minutes, so people were like able to get really far in it before they got stuck. So what was 17-3? That was snatch and chest bar, not inclusive. What 17-4 was 16-4, which is the 55's 13-minute AMRAP. Deadlift,
Oh, yeah, that's a good workout.
deadlift, wall ball, cow row, hands and push up. 17-5 was like the Fran that was like 33, 27, 21, 15, 9 or whatever.
That was probably their best
Wait,
version.
what? No. Sorry. No, I completely
that was
messed that up.
18, I
That's
think.
not 17. That's, yeah.
That's 18.
17 was a 7-minute AMRAP of 369, whatever, of chest to bar and thrusters. It was Fran. It was like basically that ascending Fran.
Which
That was the first one that was a reap. Oh, no. 17-5 was 10 rounds of 9:35. I forget about this one. This is a great one.
Oh yeah.
So 2017.
I was on a roll
two-
until I
two
wasn't. I lost it.
inclusive workouts then. 2017 had 2 inclusive workouts. All right, let's go to 18. I'm just making an argument that it's always been inclusive.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, we can just keep going down the list because it's
I'm just trying to make an argument that there are some inclusive workouts. And now with 3
There
work,
are. For sure. There are.
33% of the workouts
so
are
in
inclusive.
conclusion, it could be anything, is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much. In the chat,
mean-
what's the repeat people want to see?
Or
I want to see the
18-2.
wall walks double unders.
18.
Keep it
dumbbell
inclusive.
squats, bar facing burpees.
See if people got better at wall walks. It's not too hard. I like it. See if they increase their. It's simple enough, right? Like for the masses, GPP people. And I don't know. This is my bias because also like too. I know a lot of people start to do wall walks in training. It's like a staple movement now, for sure, across affiliates everywhere. And then obviously double unders being low skill in the eyes of CrossFit.
I improved by like a whole 2 reps the other day.
That's the only other problem is like movement speed when you're that good. Like
Kind of fixed.
yeah.
Until you get really, really good, like unless you make some major improvement in shoulder endurance or whatever, general aerobic ability, like, yeah, you're not going to get much farther.
Cody wants it to be 21.3 and 21.4. The other question is how far, I guess the longest time from like redo was 23, the first workout with the row from 2014.
Yeah.
So
That's the biggest gap, probably.
biggest gap. The rest of them are like 1 to 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what are the chances it's within the 2020s?
I mean, based on their trend, higher than going back to 12-1.
And that was Adrian Bosman's year of the CrossFit Open
True.
workouts.
Yeah, he went way back. They keep it more relevant, I feel like.
All
They
right,
try
so
to keep it within a
the
year or
next
2.
4 weeks, if you were going to practice retesting, which if you're on the pack, we've been retesting these workouts every Saturday for the last couple of weeks or more than the couple of weeks. Was this week 9? Coming up on week 9 of. And what's really neat, if you guys have been paying attention as our athletes, I instructed all of our coaches when it's our turn to choose the workouts that you choose a workout that's never been repeated. So the likelihood of getting a new repeat, then because I don't think they're going to repeat.
How many times have they repeated a repeat?
I think it's twice.
Twice? I was gonna say once.
I thought it was once too.
Well, no, because they had the voting one,
They had the voting one. That's the one I know of.
and then one of the thruster ones was repeated twice.
Yeah,
can't-
that's the voting one.
No, that was overhead squat and chest to bar was the voted one.
Oh, then they voted twice. They voted in 18 as
Did they?
well. Yeah.
They might have. The voting thing's not that cool. I don't like that. I think they
Yeah,
probably did that
I think
because
it
when
was
they voted
8.
for DT at the games, and they're like, "Do you want heavy or double?" Remember when they did that? And get on Twitter, also known as X.
Mhm.
Old school. How many of you guys knew that they vote? I mean, Harley knew it.
How many of you guys knew that Twitter or X used to be called Twitter? I'm just kidding.
Sophia did not know that.
Luca's like, what?
It's been X the whole time. All right. Yeah, what could it be? Tyler, what do you want it to be? I want it to be 21.1. That's what I want it to be.
Not repeated workouts. My favorite open one is that 55 one. I love that one.
And this year, the repeat. They said there is going to be a
I know.
repeat. What do you want it to be?
What do I want it to be? Do you remember the Earn It that was overhead squats and chest to bars?
Yeah, that's the one they
20.
voted. It was in 2014, and then it
Was that the repeat one that they voted on?
2019 and 2014.
I like that one.
I think 2019.
15.
Yeah, 2019. 15.
15 too.
Mm-hmm.
And then they repeated it. They voted 2019, right?
No, it's 14 2, 15 2.
Oh, so they did vote twice. Dang.
Yeah,
What's the one they
that's what I'm
voted
saying.
on in the later years? Because we were at
It was
Curry.
7 minutes of 3, 6, 9 of thrusters and chest
there
to
you go.
bar.
Yeah.
That
Yes,
was
that worked
2018, I think. I think that was 18, right?
Yeah, because that workout has been done 3 times because we voted on it once. It was repeated, and then it originally was brought out. That's the one.
Yeah.
But that was an
Yeah.
AMRAP, right? The one
7
when they
minute
voted
AMRAP.
on it? Yeah,
Yeah.
the one there was in 15, it was an Earn It.
Yeah, overhead squat and chest to bar. The
Yeah.
window workout.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was 3
Yeah.
minutes. But
Yeah.
you had to rest until the 3 minute mark.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one you want them to do again.
Guess
I
what?
like that one.
All right,
Guess what? That's the workout that's on DTC's program for Friday.
sick. Tell me how many
What?
people get
Dude,
into
you guys keep just calling it out. You're just riding our program.
Well, it's easy
Good
to
job.
do that when they're every day.
You have a good odds. All right, Heather, which one do you want them to repeat?
Oh,
Or you want them to, not what you think they're going to repeat. Because we're not going to be able to guess what they're going to repeat.
yeah, I don't know.
What do you want them to be? What would you like to see?
I would like to see. I don't know.
Come in the chat what you guys want to
Let's
see.
look. I mean, I do think it's definitely going to be something.
Cody
from
wants
the last couple
21.3
years.
and 21.4.
Do you guys remember that one?
Mm.
We did that at Nova.
I can't remember it.
That was front squat.
Oh,
toe to bar,
yeah. That's a good
thruster,
workout. That's a good
rest 1 minute, front squat, chest to bar, thruster, rest 1 minute.
And they had the complex.
Front squat, bar muscle up, thruster, and then complex.
Yeah, that's when Harley blew everyone's minds at Nova. Everyone was just like, "What the fuck?"
Wait, on the
Yeah,
because of the heavy
crushed-
lift.
He
or
just
what?
crushed it.
No, on the Metcon, I went so dumb hard on the Metcon. I failed 270 on the complex. I think I submitted a score of 255
can
on the
you avoid
complex. It was bad.
Burpee or box jump overs or burpee box. Yeah, burpee box.
Yeah,
I just want to avoid that because today I made the class so they could build their volume and resiliency. 30 burpee box jump overs, rest 1-to-1 for 4 sets because I know how high volume that movement is.
Mhm.
And we're just trying to build out. We'll get to that in the part of the podcast. I just want to know what people want to repeat first. I'm going to pick the trend of doing part 2 lift every other year. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I think that yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing that 18-2, the front squat burpee into the clean, where you have to earn your time to do the lift. I enjoy that.
That's
If you're going to put a lift in at all, you have to you can't put it as a separate window of time. But I generally like things that allow people to do part of it and then are either going to just reward the fittest people with either a heavier load,
Was that your
higher
choice?
skill. What?
You want 19? Whatever.
No, I think I said my choice was last year's. I still think 5 rounds of thruster and chest to bar, and then five rounds of heavier thruster and bar muscle up. I think
Anything
that's a good one.
Fran-esque, no.
That's just because right now they're going to have you do Fran for Fittest of the Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. That's the best combo. Like if you get really good at thrusters and pulling, you will be really good at the sport.
Yeah.
Not everything, but like you can chip a lot away by getting good at that combination. All right. Well, got a lot of different variations. I'm sure people are excited. We got a lot of people signed up for the Open. Is redoing the workouts getting anybody hyped up at DTC to sign up for the Open, or just making it worse?
I think it's making it worse.
Sometimes I
To
feel
be
like
honest.
that. Like, do you think this will now bleed into like CrossFit Games peak, and it like peaking for the Open for most people, because the majority of people are just going to do the Open and now the Community Cup, actually. So I shouldn't say that, but like our first little ramp up for GPP and even somebody trying to be competitive in the space, we're all going towards the same thing, because none of us are signed up to WFP that I know of. You get your letter in the mail yet, Harley? Not your
No.
signed. I've heard they are going to have other divisions, but I haven't heard much more than like, we're going to do this with other people. So I don't know how much opportunity there is for non-high competitive athletes to do the WFP yet. But yeah, so since we're all going to do the Open, because it's going to be fun, a good old time. Do you like, that's the first thing. Like, I think some people do that. They're like, we're going to do an Open workout twice a week or every Friday or something. For, let's just say 80% of people, do you think that's appropriate?
In 2017, I did every single Open workout up until that date.
Did you really?
Yeah.
How'd you feel?
I mean, that was when I was originally riding a program for myself before I worked with TTT. I was doing a lot of weightlifting at the time. I didn't do enough aerobic work. Probably didn't feel great, but I felt like I grew a greater understanding of the space and the sport through doing that. But
That was
that
your
doesn't
second year, right? Of CrossFit?
third
Year.
fourth. Yeah.
Oh, you started
Whatever it was.
15. That's right.
Yeah. 15 was my first Open. So I had this conversation with one of the girls that trains with the group at DTC in the mornings. And essentially they have their little group of training partners, and Chase writes the program and they do what he writes, and everyone just has a good time with it. And I explained that I think that repeating Open workouts as the sole like metcon and conditioning of your day, like they do other stuff. They do like 4 or 5 pieces in their day. Like they do a lot, to be honest. But I don't think that it is as constructive in learning how to perform at them as well. Like you get a scrimmage, you
the
get
one.
like if you just do the one and then do accessories and or a
Okay.
secondary conditioning piece, you're not learning how to do the workout better, or you're not learning how to pace the common movement combinations of the sport. So the strategy I would implement is, if you really want to be specific to an Open workout or Open workouts, plural, you would do intervals of the same loading movement combination and similar rep schemes. And you can use them completely, as they are, but just break them up into, X number of minutes. Say it's a 15-minute AMRAP, you could do 4 minutes on, 4 minutes off for 4 rounds. And then you get 16 minutes of the working time similar to the total volume. And you may actually be able to move at a faster or as fast rate of travel as your true Open performance. So you get to learn how to play the game more effectively and learn how to execute, more consistently.
That's a really good way to look at it. Let's walk it back a little bit, because I think that's slightly over some people's heads. So like the first thing is like, okay, what's the problem we're trying to solve? And it's the open workout. So you have an athlete, and let's say they're an early engager, let's say, and they're hyped up to start training for the Open 6 weeks out. I wouldn't even say that's not even an early engager. An early engager is like back in August, I want to get good at the Open. That would be, but let's just say like normal human beings, 6 weeks out, they're like ready to go. What is the problem they're going to face? Like the characteristics of the Open, like through the lens of CrossFit, what are in your guys? Because the first piece, for example, I would say is like maximal sustained intensity for yourself. So like being able to sustain a zone 4 heart rate, zone 5 heart rate for 8 to 12, 14 minutes. So like that's the first problem I look at with people to attack. What are some of the other problems you see like, that they're going to face in the open?
Well,
And-
probably volume exposure. Like they
Okay.
just like they haven't done that amount of work before that's being asked of them.
Yeah,
They
'cause
haven't had enough time training to build that type of work.
Yeah, most workouts are going to be 150 to 400 reps, depending on minus ones that have double unders, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, yeah, volume accumulation and volume tolerance. What else?
Yeah.
What are some other problems? General broad picture, not like very specific things. Or is that it? Just like,
I would just say positional endurance, the ability to continue to perform a given movement pattern
Yeah.
consistently, even with elevated heart rate, while accumulating a good amount of fatigue. So movement quality, movement economy, etc.
through high reps and
high speed. I mean, speed's relative, but like,
well, that's good because you watch somebody do, like, if you take somebody with a PVC pipe and you're like, hey man, let's do thrusters as fast as you can. It's going to look pretty different than if I'm like, all right, we're going to do a nice tempo thruster. You're going to get your hips back. You're going to come down 2 seconds, go up 2 seconds, right? They're able to keep that PVC pipe really straight. And then we add some load and fatigue to that. They're just hinging, doing a Kang squat thruster like you see, and they're just killing themselves. That's good. So like, those are 3 pretty good problems to solve leading into the open, regardless of where you want to finish in the open. All right, let's layer the next layer. Cause like Harley's approach to how you would break these things down is like almost the end state of like what you would do in program design. But like, so we got the problem. Okay. They got to operate at high speed, high intensity for 8 to 14 minutes, let's say. And then movement economy basically under fatigue and large repetitions of that, or may not have the volume tolerance to even get to that point. And then I would say pull-ups, toes to bar, and double unders would be and handstand push-up, I guess. That one's hard because the handstand push-up, there's so many different variations of it now with like the wall facing, and they make everybody do it. Wall facing, strict, kip. I would have put the wall walk in that category, handstand walk. There's a lot more inverted movements than there are like bar movements because there's toes to bar, chest to bar, and bar muscle up. And those are all 3 different, like quote unquote, 3 different movements.
And rings, if you want to lump that into a hanging gymnastics.
But like the bar muscle and the ring muscle up, I know people are going to get upset again, but they're the same thing.
I understand, but I'm just saying, like, if you,
they're not. Bar muscle ups are so much harder.
I mean, you could argue that a handstand push-up, a kipping handstand push-up, and a wall-facing handstand push-up are arguably the same thing. They're just different in nuance, shoulder angle, torso angle, and or speed.
And I think that's what's hard for people is like the shoulder angle. That's really killing a lot of people. And then their ability to keep their midline tight enough while they press. Like they just don't have that. Whereas like you can chicken wing a bar muscle up, and like if you can catch yourself in the rings, you've seen a lot of people who should not be doing ring muscle ups still do ring muscle ups. I would argue there's some people who could probably do ring muscle ups before they do a strict handstand push up. Just because it's a little like you could just throw yourself up in there, and if you can support the dip, you could make it.
I'm pretty sure I did a ring muscle up before a bar muscle up. I definitely couldn't do a handstand push up at that time.
Yeah, I could do ring muscles before handstand push-ups.
Well, I don't even think bar muscle up was a thing at first, right? You were learning ring muscle ups first.
Yeah, because that was what everybody wanted to do like early on. Like back in the old school days, the ring muscle up was like the jam.
Someone showed me false grip and I did it right away. And I was like, oh, cool, that's easy. And then I couldn't turn around a bar. Like I couldn't like move around the bar. And I was like, oh, I don't know how to do that.
Bar muscle ups were super hard for me.
Yeah.
To learn.
Remember I told you and Marissa whenever I was out there last week or whenever it was 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, the first bar muscle up I did, I put my hands like this, like they were together as I turned over, because I could receive myself lower on the bar and press down versus getting like my elbows all the way over the bar. So for whatever reason, like someone told me that, oh, just try it with your hands together. It's way easier. And I just like did it.
What?
Yeah. That was weird. That was a weird. Well, you just double chicken wing. And
I know.
Yeah, you're basically double chicken winging, getting your elbow barely above the bar.
To the
I need
gym
to see.
floor.
I need to see this now.
Go try it. Go walk out there and try it right now. Heather. Let me know. Come back. Let us know how it goes.
All right, so we agree those are the movement bottleneck, like lower hanging bottlenecks, like handstand push up, toe to bar, chest to bar pull up. And I don't know, depending on where you're at, it could take somebody a pretty long time. Like 6 weeks is not enough time to really develop those skills, depending on how far away you are, right? If you can do 1, maybe you're doing 3 in 6 weeks unbroken. And then when you, like Harley said, once you get under some duress, high heart rate, you're doing more reps and Heather's volume tolerance, you're going to only do the 1 still. And even then it might go away. Like your chest won't touch, or like the toes will come close and they won't touch. You're tripping all over your double unders. So that would be the first place for like most people to start, is just work on those skills. But I think a bigger low hanging fruit piece to prep people, and this goes across all percentages, is, like I said, the high capacity. So something like we did today in class, like Harley, and same thing like Harley's talking about, is like breaking down workouts, or, getting people to do 150 wall balls and not having this huge visceral reaction to that repetition volume. Getting people to do burpee box jump overs, like Renata did them today and already commented in the chat about how bad they were. Breaking down the common movements, like Harley's saying, like doing 2-minute AMRAP of double unders and thrusters of 9 and whatever what was the other number?
35.
30. Yeah. So 9 and 35, 2-minute AMRAP, rest 1 to 2 minutes, and doing that for 5 rounds to build that volume, feel the workouts a little bit. But that still goes under that classification of like high output, high effort stuff. And I think 6 weeks out, people should start doing that and incorporate it into their training more and more.
Should they do that every day?
No, but I think if you broke down a percentage of training, let's say you train 5 days a week, I think 2 to 3 days a week would be really valuable for a CrossFitter. Then the other 2 days need to be strength, skill work, all your accessories, a little bit of like low intensity volume, maybe easy EMOMs that go for a long time and are strung out to also get the volume. Zone 2 stuff, getting exposure to the rower, because the rower is most commonly tested, being on that thing, because to Heather's point, building more repetitions there. So yeah, breaking it down that way. And this should start like 6 weeks out. When you're a highly competitive person.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If, let's say, someone's max set of the chest bar is like 16 to 18, right?
It's pretty good.
Pretty good. But like, that's like their max set. They can probably, if they get a minute rest, do like a 12 and then do like a 10 and then like an 8. And they kind of just deteriorate down from there. And that they're not like 100% consistent with the rhythm and mechanics of it. So your goal between now or 6 weeks leading into the open is to build out, I would say, the consistency and the repeatability of a sub-maximal set. So somewhere around that like 6 to 10 rep range, if their best is like 16 to 18, somewhere around 50 to 60% of their max set. When you're doing that, you of course could do an EMOM, E2 mom, whatever. But if you were to do something like, I'm just going to give an example, 3 rounds, 4 rounds, 6 to 8 chest to bar, 300 meter easy row, would you classify that as intensity work, skill work, or easy work?
More towards the end of easy work, but it's kind of got its own category that I put into like bridge training. So you're adding aerobic load to the volume that you're trying to build out. And then, like you mentioned, building a better submaximal density set is going to be more beneficial, as we all know from the open. Because like if it is a workout where you have to do 5, was it 5? No, it's 10 chest to bar for 5 rounds, and then 5 bar muscle ups for 5 rounds. The fastest people are going to be able to go 10, 10, 10, 10, then 5, 5, 5, 5. And we also know that even if you don't do the 10, 10, 10, 5, 5, 5, if you're doing 5 and 5, you're still going pretty fast. So you need to be able to do that and build that out. And those combinations are coming. Even in Tyler's example of the chest to bar overhead squat workout, as it builds, the same thing, like you're occurring that volume, being able to go 3. And then if you're that person, and in the next one when it's 6, you go 3, 3. And then when it's 9, you go 3, 3, 3. And then 3, 3, 3, 3 for the 12. And then 5 sets of 3. Like if you can do that, I think those people will do better than the people who, like in your scenario, even though it was backwards, Harley, was like they're blowing up, because they'll go 3 and then they'll be like, I could do the 6, and they do the 6 because it's still below their threshold. But then they get to the 9 and they don't make a good choice, and then they blow up, and then the 12 is like 2, 2, 2, 2, and then they get to the 15 and it's like unmanageable. But in those sessions that you're talking about with rowing and chest to bars, you bring it down a lot to help build that resiliency to that and can build better strategies. So twofold, that session, lower intensity, more thought put into it, building your density in the chest to bar as example, adding the pulling load because you're doing rowing is a great way to prep somebody for the open or a qualifier. Because we already know that these workouts are all very similar. So like those characteristics stay the same and you've broken it down. So I think that's a much better session to do. And I would argue like even GPP, they could come in, hit a warm up, maybe do some strength, pulling or skill work, like bar muscle up work or ring muscle up work into that session and have a really quality like class session.
If you, so I'm just gonna follow up my example and your explanation. So we both agree that it's on the easier side of training, and I wouldn't call that like a Metcon. Like I would call that like aerobic skill development or whatever, right? It is going to prepare someone for a mixed setting of work more effectively, while ideally, if they're respecting the note of easy row, ideally it will allow them to maintain quality. Do you think that if you put that, like if you balance out a week and you go like a high intensity day, an easy day, a higher effort day, a rest day, whatever, something like that, and you put that on that easy day in the middle and someone's reporting I'm run down and wrecked, do you think that they are like, where do you think the downfalls are? Like, you know,
it's in the structure. So the structure you just gave, I think's what, and you just did that off the top of your head. So like, but looking at that and then giving the feedback, the high intensity day and that easy work, because the skill development needs to be pulled out further from that day. That's why, and they're not recovering. And you need to bring in a true easy day in between there plus a rest day. So like, let's say they do the high intensity day on Tuesday. I would then structure this session that you just talked about on a Friday or even a Saturday to pull them out. So then that way they have an ability. That's why I like send it Saturdays. We go hard in our group and then we have rest day on Sunday for most people. Some people have to work out Sunday, but you go rest day and then into Monday, which for a lot of my athletes is more of a lifting day. So you're still getting that rest from that intensity. So it's rest to work management that we're doing on the back end for a lot of these athletes, which I don't think blog programs or most gym programs are even thinking about that at all. Like you just said.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would move it out. And if they continue to have a problem, there's a bigger conversation there. But yeah, you got to take like 48 to 72 hours between the high intensity to that quality work, I would argue.
Yeah.
But that's like not even a CrossFit thing. That's just like kinesiology, strength and conditioning. You know, but CrossFitters, we just going to go hard all the time. Intensity does drive adaptation. That's what's tough. So, and especially around this time of year, you do want to have that intensity, right? Because like faster is better, harder is better. In the context of like a qualifier, would you guys all agree?
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to go faster and harder is you got to do what?
Practice speed.
Yeah, you got to go faster and harder.
I was like, your bridge training where you are allowed to go faster and harder.
Yeah, and so like that can really mess you up. And it is a touchy time, but like it's a very valuable time for people to go faster and harder. And I think watching someone's volume is important there too, when they build up for these things. And that's why it's like tough too. I think with we have a lot of athletes right now who want to have a lot of opportunity because there's, you know, the open has changed. There's some who are like our masters are definitely going to make it in the top 2%, which is great. And then they're going to peak for semifinals. And we're going to do kind of a similar thing. You're going to peak up for the open, come down a little bit, work on some things you need to work on because we do have a good amount of time before the master stuff, and more specifically work on those skills and the higher loads and like more volume accumulation leading into their semifinals. And then from there, they'll have a long break until the games for those people who make it. For other people, like the 1% so small, and most of them will not make it to an in-person semi. Most of them are going to have to do semis with us in the gym, which we're going to make really fucking cool. But in tandem with that, like right now, you know, Harley and I were talking about two athletes who are going to do a team for Monster Games. And like one of them legit's going to compete next weekend at Fittest of the Coast. She's a very good athlete. She'll do well. She'll make it to, I hope, and we've seen historically, make it to the in-affiliate semis. But also, while she's prepping for the Open and Fittest of the Coast, she's going to do Monster Games. So it's just like a lot in one time. So we have to make sure that we're very careful and cautious with that intensity, like Harley's saying. and make her sharp enough that she can do those things in that short amount of time, and then hope we can taper out a little bit to then be able to do the open effectively to make it to semifinals. And if she doesn't make it to semifinals, it's probably going to be because we did this other stuff in this time, and that's okay. Because if they make it to monster games, they're also hitting their goal. So peaking for the open or peaking for any type of event, really, I think most people don't even think about. I think CrossFitters come in like GPP and even some high level people come in, train, and they're just like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready year round. And I don't know how many people realize like you're not performing at your best. You could have prepped yourself further out to have a good peak. And maybe that's where some of the frustration comes from when people say, well, we don't know the season. We don't know. I don't know. Maybe it is. But how many people do you think peak and prep themselves effectively to the thing? Or are they just like all scatterbrained and don't have, that's why they're not getting the results they want?
I think everyone just does the open workouts every day and then expects themselves to get better. Yeah,
there's that. That is true. Like you look at Proven training or just like hop on their Instagram and look at one of the workouts. It's like, fuck, dude. I mean, it's good. Intensity is good. I don't like, but I mean, I just remember when we used to do comp train and like, I look back now and I'm like, why did we do that?
Yeah. I think for like the blog, like the Provens though, they have to balance with getting people to want to do their workouts though, you know, because like if you did, if every day, if they had like a high day, a low day, a high day, a low day,
some do
and
that.
then, but like, I think
they are a low day, which is good.
Well, I'm saying for like, they actually have to, like, if they backed off their intensity and tapered for the open, like,
I see what you're saying.
Like we're talking about, like most athletes don't either want to do that, think that's helpful, or understand that. So they have to like balance what the people they're trying to keep too.
Yeah, they'd lose clients, I guess, is what you're saying. Yeah, and they're just giving people what they want rather than what they need. What Cody say? For me to go faster and harder, I just probably pop up a picture. Or you could just race Luca, who basically dug your own grave today. He dug your own grave and threw lactic acid all over your body. How did it feel? He's like, hey, this EMOM looks really easy that Marissa gave me. And I was like, okay, like it's easy. And it looks like it was made for Sophia. And then he goes, oh my hold God. On, let's get her on here. Look at her face right now.
Her face of discontent.
She's upset. Anyways, then he was like, well, can I do the fittest of the coast test prep with Luca? And I was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And I was going to make some changes to it to make it harder. And I was like, no, I'll just do it like that. And when they were done, he was like sitting like white face, like over on the thing. I was like, you all right, dude? Like, well, he was, I feel like I just did acid bath. Like I'm never doing that with Luca ever again. I was like, well, that maybe you should, because he just killed you. That was good. Luca demolished him. Fittest man on earth right here in the gym.
The 15-year-old.
15, we're 14 to 15, fittest man on earth. We're going for it.
Dude.
But yeah, speaking of intensity, he might have to take a low day tomorrow. Well, Mr. Cody, he got beat up. I'm waiting for him to comment in the chat. Oh, here he goes. Hey, I didn't lose. You should also capitalize your I in there.
Wait, why is he saying
he didn't lose?
Todd.
Because it was an EMOM?
I want to. No,
it's correcting people's grammar.
My grammar's getting better. No. It was a for time workout, and he didn't lose to Luca.
Oh, I thought you said Luca wiped the floor with him. I don't get it.
Well, no, he was pushing the pace. He was pushing the pace, and so like to win, he had to die. He had to put out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Or else he would have lost. That was a good one. But yeah, what else for the open? I mean, you got to do some hard, intense sessions 2 to 3 times a week because we're getting ready for CrossFit. You got to have an easy day where you're working on skills and drills and trying to develop some of the things even more easy than Harley's example of the rowing and chest to bars. And then you got to have that day as well, because that's going to be, I feel like those 2 days are going to be like your brick building days for sure versus the intensity. The intensity is just getting you like charged up for that stuff. And it could be like a rowing interval where you're like rowing for 5 minutes, resting for 2, rowing for 5 minutes, resting for 2. It could be an example of like what Harley said, where you're doing intervals of the most common movements. And then one of the other intensity days could just be an open workout where you're prepping the skill of like how to warm up, how to feel yourself, how to get going, and then come in and hit that workout with a good plan and strategy. And then you got 2 days where you're laying down the bricks of like either aerobic work if you're not highly aerobic, or strength work if you need to get stronger, or strength and then aerobic work in the same session, because you can order them that way and be fine because you suck at both like me. And then the really skill building day, working on your legless rope climbs, your ring muscle ups, handstand walking volume and positions, like no intensity, like for quality. Rest as needed, or ran as some people like to write. What else you guys got? How would that develop somebody to peak? 6 weeks out, that could be your structure. What else? Would you ramp up? I mean, I'm going to do this for a lot of the higher level athletes. I'm just like ramping up their like 3 to 5 minute blocks and just tell them to send it. Like max effort AMRAPs, or like machine work where it's like 21, 15, 9, cows on the skier, cows on the rower, and then rest, repeat. Just like bleed from the lungs a little bit. Like I did for the class, the 30 box jump overs that Renata commented about that everyone hated. That's a good way.
What was that example again? About
21,
the ergs?
59, ski and row. You can do bike and row. Ski and row.
How many times did you have him do that? 2 to 3?
Yeah.
Cool. Sick.
But it's a hard effort, easy, no barrier to entry aerobic work that could really prime you for certain stuff.
4 sets, 4-minute AMRAP, 8 burpee box jump over, 8 dumbbell front rack walking lunge, 8 chest to bar, 8 lunge.
Yeah, and you can even break those up. Like you could do one of the 4-minute AMRAPs is just the 2 couplets of like burpee box jump over front racks, and then the other one of the chest to bar, and what was the other movement?
Lunges again.
And then you could alternate those and like even string it out, go like 10 sets or like 8 sets, 4 of each. That's a good training session too. That would like prime you up for the open or a qualifier. Well, like there's ways to like, you want to really stress the system and then decompress the system and stress the system. That way you're building rather than just like beating the shit out of yourself. Unless your name's Arthur Wolf, then we gotta. Although he gave me a good compliment. He said, "You had me peak perfectly last year." It's a lot of pressure. Can I do it again this year?
Don't mess up.
I know. Sometimes I'm writing program and I'm like, this is the most valuable thing I'm ever going to write. Like for that one person, for the one day, for the one thing. It's like I'm on D. I'm like, this is the most valuable thing I'm ever going to write. I honestly don't think people realize how much of a lot like thought goes into some of the stuff. CJ has been with us. If you don't know, CJ is Harley's wife. And she's staying with us for 3 weeks, and her and Mercer are training, and they're doing a great job getting ready for the coast. They're gonna have a really good time. But like we were talking about Harley's workflow and stuff, and I knew he worked a lot, but I think he works a lot harder than I would say he should, because he puts so much energy into what he's writing for people and coaching people. It was cool to hear because like CJ is watching you from afar, and you're in it doing the work. So I just want to give you a shout out because I feel like you're putting a lot into that. You really love it. It's cool.
No, I don't care.
Don't be modest. Come on. You care a lot.
Wow. Wife piece.
All right. Arthur said I better. I'm trying, man. That's why we're doing the drills. I hope you did those ring muscle up drills today. Okay. Or it was yesterday or today. I forget, but I hope you did those instead of skipping them like last week. This guy, I'm gonna throw you under the bus right now. Dang. This guy sends me a message. I'm gonna do some power monkey drills, and I'm like, that's cool. Those swings look great, but your problem isn't the swing, dude. It's getting into the rings and doing the transition. Similarly to Heather. And so I have some very specific drills that I want him to do, and he said yes, he did. All right, good job, man. Good job. I'm glad. I'm gonna look at those videos later. What else? How else could you guys prep for the Open? Anybody in the chat have questions about prepping for the Open? Or do you feel like you're just on track? You're ready to go. Killing it. CJ did say that Harley does too much.
What about something non-specific to training? Prepping for the Open, like outside, like Are you dialing in your
What are you
nutrition?
talking about?
I'm thinking about like
No,
nutrition,
I'm
sleep.
joking.
Like,
I'm
are
joking
you
because
prioritizing those things?
that was the joke. People are not.
Did
No, you're
you start cycling off your steroids?
No, you're not gonna be tested until in
Oh,
person.
true. Did you start cycling onto your steroids? I don't know.
Oh yeah. There you go.
There we go.
No, she's
client
right.
who is perpetually hurt, and I'm like, well, what's the stress going on in your life? What's your recovery going on? Because they're just having a hard time just doing the training. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, you need to be able to do these things because this is what's going to be asked of you in the open. But if you're hurt all the time and you have to modify things because the recovery isn't happening.
Do not pull up that comment by Cody. Do not lean into that. Yeah, I mean that's one of the biggest things. I think
I don't even know what that means.
really, I know what it is. It's the SARM that makes you stronger. Anyways, yeah. So that is the piece. Like for general population people, that would be great if people were like, "Hey, I'm gonna really take this coming up serious, and I want to do the open," even if they're coming in for an hour-long class. Like Heather's saying, hydration, clean up your diet. Get rid of some of the processed foods, exchange the gummy bears for bananas, unless you really like those things, but
so we're going to do
get more sleep.
So DTC has been doing monthly challenges. That's like a thing to try to drive engagement. Next month, so February, we're doing 1,000 jump rope repetitions per week. So you can do singles, speed steps, crosses, whatever. Like you don't have to do doubles, right? But the idea is that people are more prepared for the open when those double unders come out, unlike Todd in 2018 or whenever that was.
2013.
Yeah.
Come on.
So anyways, so we're trying to be proactive in making that choice. And during the open, to ideally help encourage people to take the variables outside of the gym more seriously, we're doing dry March and hydration. So tracking, I think it's going to be something like ounces in body weight or over your body weight in kilograms and ounces of water per day or something like that. I don't know, something fucking easy. Ideally, something that creates a metric.
Equation. I was like, oh, that's so much to figure out. Okay, what am I in kilograms? And then,
well, I'm not the one that's going to be creating the recommendation. We're doing that, and ideally going to give Jeff the platform to push his own nutrition coaching, so he can give himself his own plug.
Yeah, and that's good because people do, like Heather's saying. Like, I was talking to CJ about this the other day, just about nutrition in general, and it's crazy how many people like think that they know what they're doing with nutrition.
I don't know anything.
Well, yeah, you know more than like the normal layman's person, and a lot more than people come into a CrossFit class, and in some respect more than some of the competitive athletes. But like, if you haven't been, like, I tracked for a really long time, and we joked. I was like, I bet you this is 5 ounces of turkey on my plate right here, and then we weighed it at the house, and I was right. And you're going to be close, plus or minus if you do it long enough. But I only know that because I did it long enough and intentionally like paid attention to what I'm eating, because right now I don't track at all. And I look almost the one thing I've been making sure I get is protein, obviously, but like I've tracked for years to just look at my plate and figure that out. I guarantee if we played that game with a lot of people in the gym, they wouldn't be able to do it. So it is one of those things where like you do need a nutrition coach, because I know that most people aren't experts and they're trying their best and they're trying something. And the open could be one of those things. They're like, and because it's so close to January and being in a CrossFit gym, if you're in a gym and nutrition is hard for you, you definitely could work on those things to help your performance and build better habits. Like Harley's saying, like with the jump rope, like it's an easy thing to do to integrate and habit stack on top of the things that you're already doing. So drinking water, bringing down the alcohol consumption. I think most people should just stop drinking alcohol. It's crazy how it's like a class 3 carcinogen but yet we sell it over the counter.
But it makes you feel good and it improves your personality.
All these people talking about seed oils and they're out here drinking Bud Light. I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. You're talking about seed oils, but you're ingesting toxin because it's fucking Friday.
Dude, it's cooler. Like, you'll feel better about yourself, and all of those problems are going to go away for a few hours.
Okay, but just
seed oils don't make you drunk, dude.
Bud Light. I don't know.
Yeah, who the hell drinks Bud Light? That's
I
a
don't know.
great
I
point.
just said something. I get something I thought of. I don't know. Whatever. I don't drink, so I don't know. I mean, rarely. Like 2 times a
Dude,
year.
you had a beer with me once.
I did
One time.
Took
Took a
Also
celebration.
makes your personality better. Some
Yeah,
some
dude.
people. Some people. I was off on the ounces. I was pretty close. CJ's calling me out. I was 5 3/8 of an ounce. 5 ounces 3/8. But yeah, I mean, I think that's good. I'm glad you're like Jim's doing that. But in general, I think it is really tough. I think nutrition is probably the hardest thing that most people ignore. And I don't want to be mean to people because it's hard, because it's like you literally don't know what you're doing. And that's hard to hear, because you eat food every day. And the open could be a catalyst for you to want to invest in a coach, or I just call it a coach that you need somebody who knows what they're doing. Like there's some of you who like try to get their friend or somebody else, or like, you need someone who knows what they're doing, has a lot of experience working with people and that you trust. And that's going to help you, because there's so much there around behaviors, mindset, real whole food processing. Even we joke about alcohol and seed oils. Like those are real things that are happening to you in your life, whether you're controlling them or not. Like we're way off topic, but the open could be a catalyst to fix those things. Like Heather's saying, like you could be like, I want to do better in the open and I only sleep 5 hours a night. I'm going to try to move that to 6.5. And like you come in the gym every day. So then, move it to 6.5. And then if you can do that through this time and through the open, hopefully it sticks with you and you do it all year.
Well, I think the point that I was trying to also make is that you come in and you work so hard in the gym and doing all this training, but then
you're self-sabotaging.
You go out and you wreck it, so.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, it's life. You're only spending an hour to 2 hours in here doing the thing. So like the other 23 hours you're in control of, but it is something that you could motivate yourself.
Do you think people intentionally self-sabotage?
No, because pizza and like alcohol are good. I'm not saying they're not. Like those things are delicious. Like a good cinnamon roll, I could eat every morning, every day. No problem. I could eat 3 of them. I'd feel sick probably after 3, but like those things are good. I know why people do it. I've done it. I have not been.
We all saw you in 2020. We know you did it.
Man, my wife made fun of me about that as well. I was the fittest I've ever been, and you were not so fit. That's not exactly went, but I was like, dang, okay.
Dang.
Probably was overweight.
I'm gonna throw you under the bus again.
Relative to where I looked. And
then you told her that she had a mom butt after she gave birth to Ruth. And then she got mad.
Well, that's what she really.
A mom butt could be a good thing.
It up.
A mom butt could be a good thing. Okay. Yeah. C is for cookie. It's good enough for me. C is for cookie. It's good enough for me.
Well, CJ knows.
No, but I mean that. Well, so that's
you also called CJ Tubby back in the day.
I did.
Now she's jacked.
She's shredded. Yeah, pull up the picture of from her at Crash. She's shredded.
Dude, shredded.
No, I mean that's me saying that is just shedding light on like you could be tracking your macros forever. You could be working hard on those things, and like you still live in life, and everything's got to be. You got to control it, or it's going to control you. You're either making your decisions, or someone's making a decision for you, and that's really like what Heather's bringing up. And if you want to use the open as an opportunity to change some of these habits and behaviors that you're just not happy with, that's a good way to do it. And if you're a competitive athlete and you want your goal, you need to know twofold. One, you haven't changed those other things, and those are hurting you and why you're not getting to your goal. 100%. It has nothing to do with the training, nothing to do with the coaching. You're probably not sleeping. You're probably not eating. You're not doing your mobility. You're not hydrating enough, kilograms per body weight, whatever Harley said. And then
I don't know. I just rambled nonsense.
I know. And you're not doing the external things, but maybe you're coming in and getting A++ on your training. That's great. But if you're not doing the other stuff, you're not going to get the outcome that you're looking for. And it had nothing to do with us or the recommendations, is you just didn't do it.
Excellence is a trainable quality, and so is mediocrity. You know, the choice to do the hard things is equally weighted as the choice to take the easy route or do the thing that sounds good right now.
Right. And just like this, my wife, a donut with a bite out of it also has a C. See, she got me.
No, like also looks like a C.
Yeah, because C is for cookie, dude.
Yeah.
And calorie
And I eat a lot of cookies.
and carbohydrate.
A donut with a bite taken out is also C.
Yeah.
So C is for donuts, and it's good enough on me. We sing that song to Ruth.
I know. I witnessed firsthand.
It's a good song. Yeah, those are the things, right? Get the training in order, balance it out, have some high intensity more often than you've been used to. Don't do stupid high intensity. Try to make it more thoughtful, intentional, and because you don't need to kill yourself every day. And then look at the other factors. And don't complain if like training's not going good or you're getting hurt and you're feeling down or you're low energy and you're not hydrating and putting the right fuel in the body post workout, everything else. Like, yeah, you gotta use the open to do that. So then you get what you want, or you get closer to what you want, and you use this year as a stepping stone. And then every year you can get better and better and better.
As long as you
pack training, year of the cookie. I'm not mad about it.
As long as you continue to make the choices that are going to align with the outcomes you want.
True.
So if you want to use this year, as a catalyst and a stepping point, a jump off point to a new routine, lifestyle, whatever, it's really easy for people to get really excited or caught up in the hype cycle of the season, the leaderboard, maybe have a negative experience around where they ended up, and then they feel really motivated. What?
Who cares? Who cares where you're
I know, but I was just going to say that then people get really motivated to try to like revamp everything, all of the variables, get a coach and dive in on all this stuff, and then that gets 2 months down the road and they realize it's not as glamorous or it's not as consistent or easy to maintain as they thought. And because they had a couple missteps along the way, or they made some poor choices on the way, and then they get discouraged and stop. So if you use this as a jump off point, just understand it's not just because you're in motion at one point doesn't mean you're going to stay in motion unless you continue to make the choice to move in that direction.
Yeah. And even if you don't, like Harley's saying, it's okay to like ebb and flow. But the other thing is, I have not seen anyone who has decided to use the open as like their test of fitness and their thing like all year, the same way people train for marathons, not get better.
That is true.
Even if it has those ebbs and flows, every person I've encouraged to use the open as their thing for you come into class, even the class goers, like, hey, just focus on the open, just focus on how we're going to get better throughout the year and some of your strengths and weaknesses that we're going to work on, some of the things that Harley's saying and Heather said about nutrition, and you start building those blocks. Like I've never seen anybody not like in 2 years be like, fuck, man, that was really like, that was a waste of my time. I've never seen anybody say that. Every single time they're like, wow, look how much better I've gotten. I've changed my state. Like I feel good. I could do more things. Like, so yeah, you can use it as a jump off point, but continue to do it. And even if like you get demotivated because it's middle of September and you're like, why am I doing this? Hopefully you have a coach who's like, remember back when you were frustrated that you couldn't do that thruster? That's why you're doing it. Like use that moment and that hype that you had to try and keep the train going. And if that doesn't work for you, just ask yourself, because I know some people that doesn't work for them. Like, well, who do I want to be in another year or another 2 years? And like make that person proud by choosing to do the training or drink the water in those off times, because that'll come. Like in the next 5 weeks, it's all going to be over. The dust is going to be settled, and we got to approach those conversations. But leading in, this is good. If you're not part of our training group, you're not going to have a sweet peak. So if you want to join, now's the time. You can have a sweet peak like all of our athletes are going to do. They're going to be excited and happy. Like and subscribe so you don't miss or ring the bell. Ring the bell. Is that still a thing right now? What's up, CC? You probably have a lot of time to go back and look at some stuff. Glad you're here, though. We got more subscribers. I thank you guys. It's good. That number's gone up. Appreciate it. Oh, you know what? This reminded me. I'm glad. And it's an hour and 9 minutes in. Thank you, Jace, for the recommendation. We're going to give out the Wolfies next year. It was so good. He commented on the show.
He did? Nice.
Yeah. So
instead of the toddies. Got it.
Instead of the toddies. if you watched last show. So thanks for that comment. The Wolfies is a great idea. Shout out, Jace. If you guys comment on the show, I see those comments. I appreciate it. So thanks a lot, guys.
You can make one wear a dress and you call it a hot toddy. No? Okay,
That's
never mind.